Yeah.
I never get these questions. Oh, wait, we're recording.
Yeah, I got a quarter for seats when I
No, I'm just confused. He's on 59 coins and all. I got a precise number. That's
59 coins.
Imagine only having 475 and then
This is a little piggy bank.
Oh, so I think of banks, I think of like bank.
Yeah,
I thought it was a bank, not a piggy bank.
Back in the day, you used to have a piggy bank, and you put your coins in
I had
there.
one of those when I was little too.
3 times the sum of the number of dimes. So 3 in parentheses D plus Q.
You all right, Mason?
I'm good, no, sorry.
You want to share with the class
Share with
your good news?
No. It's just good news.
Good news?
Yeah.
All right. Got a prom date?
Yeah.
Yeah? Okay.
Definitely.
All right, what do you got here for some equations? Kate?
The first one is n plus d plus q is equal to 59.
N plus D plus Q equals to 59, okay?
And then 0.05n plus 0.1d plus 0.25q is equal to 4.75.
Agree? And you got the last one?
Kind of, but I don't know if it's right.
Okay, what do you got?
I have negative n plus 3d plus 3q is equal to 1.
Oh, you went all out. All right, what was your original equation? Let's look at that first.
I had n plus 1 is equal to 3 times parentheses d plus q.
You are just doing things different. You're doing them correctly, but different. Why'd you put n plus 1?
Because it was 1 short, so if you added 1,
Okay.
it would split.
All right, so creative thinking there. All right, so she said n plus 1. If you read it, if you go from left to right, it says the number of nickels is 1 short. So you could also write it, and I mean, my initial thoughts would be write it like this, but if you move the 1 over, that's fine. You're right. So either n plus 1 equals 3 times d plus q, or n equals 3 times d plus q minus 1. The biggest mistake I see is sometimes when they say is 1 short, they'll put the minus 1 with the n. But you got to watch because remember, is means equals, and so the minus 1 has to go on the other side. So you said negative n plus 3d plus 3q equals 1 by moving the n and the 1. All right, I'll agree with that. Okay, that's fine. That looks good. All right, from there, you're allowed to use your calculators. Go ahead and input the matrices. And you got to get, and she did it, you got to get the n, the d, and the q all lined up. And then I'm going to, let's see here, use my coefficients 1, 1, and 1. 0.05, 0.1, 0.25, negative 1, 3, 3, n times d times q equals 59, 475, 1. All right, so enter that. You should get whole numbers. If you don't get whole numbers, something's wrong.
I know, I tried that, but then it was giving me like decimals. Was that? Cause I distributed the 3. I don't really know. I'm just counting in it.
Okay, you gotta go across. 1, 1, 1 across.
Oh, okay.
And it's 0.05, which is 0.25 across.
So you don't line up the.
Okay, you have to, these have to be in order.
Okay.
But when you put it in the matrix, you just take the matrix and basically go around here. And so it's 1, 1, 1, 0.05, 0.1, 0.25. Okay?
Yeah.
No, I saw what you're doing. You did it down there. It has to be how they view. How'd you get an answer? That can't be right.
Seriously?
That can't be right.
What if it is though?
Just, did the others work?
I don't know, I think I put it in there.
That's a problem.
It just wasn't.
Right here. Because the end, I have is -1. So it should be -133.
Oh, my son.
It's gotta be in order or else you get negative numbers like that or you get off numbers. So go back to the matrix, edit. All right, now I got 111, 0.05, 0.1, 0.25. But I got, let's see, 1, -3, -3, because in the other class I did it differently. So I'm gonna switch it around and put -1, 3, 3. And so I gotta switch matrix B, 59, 475, and I need to make this a +1. When you do this, second matrix, hold on here 1 second. That's AX equals B. We're solving for X. It has to be X equals A inverse times B in that order. I don't care what the inverse is. You don't need to figure out the inverse. So when you do this, you can type it all in at once. Some people hit enter after A inverse and then multiply it by B. You don't have to do that. Oh, I did something wrong. All right, so that can't be right. What did I do wrong?
The B.
The B?
Yeah.
What did I do wrong with it?
You put a 1. You have 2 1s instead of.
Oh. Oh. So it is. That needs to be
You're
475.
close.
That needs to be 1.
I was scared.
There it is. 44, 8, and 7. So A inverse times B. So 44 nickels, 8 dimes, 7 quarters. Okay, for that. So you can use your calculator for anything like that. But obviously the main part is getting the equation right. All right, determinant, make sure you know how to do that. That would be by hand, because you can't use your calculator for this one, because you got an X and Y. Remember this, Lizzie? Oh,
Yeah.
allegedly. So when you get your 3 by 3, as Avery was describing there, you take your 2 columns and just copy them down beside them. And then starting from the top left, you multiply those together, each diagonal, and then add them. So it's 7x plus, well, actually it's going to be -2y, so we'll make it -2y. And then I got plus 16. And then we go from your top right diagonal, same idea, but you minus in between there. So you're going to subtract. And then what are we going to get there? That is 4y plus 4x plus minus 14. And then we get 7x minus 4x, which is 3x. Negative 2y minus 4y, which is minus 6y. 16 minus negative 14, which is plus 30. Okay. So that'll be your determinant. Now, don't worry about writing this down. Solve using any method. This will be on the calculator part. You can use Cramer's rule, or you can use matrices, inverse matrices. I'm going to use AX equals B, X equals A inverse times B. Okay, if I got my options. Everything's already in order, X, Y, Z, and so forth. All right, using the same system, you'll see something like this for sure. I'm not going to have you do the whole thing for Cramer's rule. I'm just going to have you find a single variable. So take a look at this one. Do write this down, and you're going to need to show me what you need to find. So you're going to use Cramer's rule to solve for Z. I don't want to know what X is. I don't want to know what Y is. You don't need to do any work for those. You just need to know how to do find Z. Okay, now, do you remember how to find Z using Cramer's rule? Remember, Z is going to be D sub Z divided by D. And Y would be D sub Y divided by Y. X would be D sub X divided by D. You need to find two matrices. So I'm just trying to limit the work instead of finding all four. Well, D is going to be the determinant of the coefficients of X, Y, and Z. So it's going to be 1, negative 2, and 3. And then my next row is 2, negative 3, 1. And then 3, negative 1, 2. You can use your calculator to find that determinant. You just type it in, do determinant. That is absolutely fine. And then D sub Z is going to be everything the same, except you're going to take out the Z column and put in the constants, negative 2, 9, and 5. So my first two columns will be the same. My last column is going to be negative 2, 9, 5. All right. Type it in. Make sure you can find the determinant. What is make sure you don't run out of time?
I'm not gonna run out of time.
All right.
I'm glad we run out of time on your test.
Yeah.
I was here, so somebody.
I can't call him
Because you did free draft.
Actually, you didn't enter anything in, like compare against that too.
Still gonna add. So I'm not going. He's been for months. So what's the yeah, his class in the same round. And then he's gonna go on one of the courses and also set up for advanced ourselves. I've been calling him so much. I said, I'm not going to you. I got one night for the burger. So this doesn't watch. Somewhat.
So you're not using it.
I know, it's so hard to go.
Actually,
You got it? Alright, Alan, what'd you get for D? The determinant for D? 18. And what'd you get for D sub Z? Alright, good, negative 54. And so that means negative 54 divided by 18. That means the Z value is negative 3. Oh, let's see if I got one of these in here. I don't know whether I do or not. Oh. Second matrix, edit. We'll go here. So remember, you can just type this in. What is that? 1, negative 2, 3. 2, negative 3, 1. 3, negative 1, 2. And matrix math determinant, and that was matrix C. And that gives us 18. So you can use that for anything on the calculator part. All right, that's essentially it. You got the review. If you've already done it, great. Here's the answer key, which will be on Canvas as well. Make sure you use those.
No, I didn't.
Let's see here.